Yes, Coffee Conversations with Greg J is on special edition. How are you today? Just contemplating, thinking out loud, man. We're here in the exhibit, our new art exhibit. Actually, it's coming to an end soon, but our art exhibit is called Long Beach Rising Murals of the Movement. And when they murdered George Floyd, protests erupted all across cities, all across the world, including Long Beach. Here, business owners boarded up their storefronts to protect from damage, and the arts community came out and painted beautiful murals out there. And we've assembled a fantastic collection of some of the murals. They've been deep underground since 2020, and we kind of rediscovered them, stumbled across them, and we've built a fantastic exhibit for you here. More on that later. 255 East 4th Street if you have time to come by in downtown Long Beach. But I'm just signing on today just because I'm really contemplating. We're in a cultural inflection point. Cultural inflection point. I look across the world, we see that there was a shooting on Monday at Morgan State University, one of our revered HBCUs. And just as they were preparing to go into their homecoming week, a very exciting time for any college or university, but certainly on the HBCU campus, it's a big deal. Somebody went through there and shot. The suspects, I guess, are still at large. But man, the shooting just reminds me of a reel that I recently saw where the young man was talking about going into a black club and what the vibe is. He says, we've been listening to 30 songs of murder music, and I just think that oftentimes, man, what we're seeing in our own community is access to guns, which I guess we can have a conversation about why, what, where, when that happened to our community. But certainly the aspect of gun ownership and gun violence is prevalent through the music, especially the music of our youth. That's what's being lifted up, right? And shown in front to the world that we're just unhinged in that kind of shape, form, or fashion. I don't know who shot up the festivities over there at Morgan State University. I did read a report where they were saying that perhaps the five that were shot were not the intended victims. And so some sort of beef is happening, I guess, around or in the university. And this ends up in gun violence and people seriously hurt by flying bullets. And it's just a doggone shame. Meanwhile, over there in Washington, D.C., they got rid of the Speaker of the House. Wow, unprecedented. That guy, Matt Gaetz, man, I've seen him on when he's sat on committees and questioning people. As an example, you can go out there and Google the exchange between Matt Gaetz and Reverend Al Sharpton and gives you a pretty good snapshot of the kind of positioning this man has as he sits in his post in the Congress. Hopefully, we'll have some people from Washington, D.C. to come through. We've reached out to our political friends and we can have a discussion on what this means to us as Americans as we're preparing to get our vote ready. I mean, it's a crazy, crazy time. But now they're scrambling to find out who will replace this, the Speaker of the House, who will replace him. I even heard a news report where they said that they were going to, excuse me, nominate Donald Trump to be the Speaker of the House. My first question, I'm not an expert in this level of civics, but can they do that? And wow, oh man, that just would turn the whole country upside down. That's what I'm saying, man. There's so much confusion. There's so much violence. There's so much uncertainty. Gas is dang near $7 a gallon. It is absolutely unconscionable what is happening in the nation, in these here streets. It's expensive. The government is going crazy. You don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next. It's apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic. Hmm. What do we do? The music, the arts. I think there's enough of us who can vibrate, from a positive standpoint, share our light with the world, and we can overcome this darkness. It's just we're in the middle of a battle. But I think those of us that walk in the light, if you allow your light to shine, you can contribute mightily to the spiritual warfare that we are seeing manifesting itself among humans. Stay conscious, stay woke. I know they don't like you saying that anymore, but it is necessary. Study your history, study where you come from. Keep talking about the current affairs, the current events from our perspective, from your community perspective. It's important. There's a lot happening here in this world. We can't just sit like a bump on a log, as my mom used to say, and allow things to go by. We have to participate. We have to think critically. We have to continue writing books, writing our own, stories, publishing our own concepts and perspectives. Because if we don't tell our own story, who will? I saw that Chris Rock is joining with Steven Spielberg to produce and direct a biopic on the life of Dr. Martin Luther King. The comments and reactions from the community are quite interesting. Some will say that Dr. King has been overdone. Time to look at other icons of Black history if we're going to do biopics. Kind of agree with that one there. There's so many names, right? This past summer, I was blessed to travel to Memphis, Tennessee, and we visited the National Civil Rights Museum there in Memphis, connected to the Lorraine Motel where Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated. It was a very profound day. We spent the entire day on the site, going through the museum, taking in the history of our people here on these American shores. And it was very, very poignant that um, to experience that, um, to see the level of strife and struggle that we have had to go through from the time we hit these shores until now. And the whole thing is if we don't tell our story, others will. It's not to make other folk feel bad. It is what it is. It's critical theory, critical history, I should say. Um, Out there that happened. It happened here in America. So if we know these stories happened in the past, if we keep up with our history and we make a connection of who we are now in these crazy days and time, then we can stand even stronger against that which we see. Just thinking out loud, y'all. How can I be a light in these dark times? Praying for the victims of the shooting out there at Morgan State University, and indeed praying for victims of any gun violence across this nation. Put the guns down, y'all. Let's start talking about peace. Let's start talking about respect, self respect. Let's start talking about it. Everything is so angry. Corporations are rebelling against the people, and the people are rebelling against the corporations. It's driving up prices. They don't know what to do up there in Washington, D.C. So many indictments happening, local, state, national. I mean, come on, man. It's crazy. Well, all we're going to do is continue to be advocates for arts and culture. That's what we're doing from a global perspective. So I'll take this opportunity to invite you to the Art Walk. The downtown Long Beach Art Walk is coming back. Yeah, they're over there working very, very hard on it. Shout out to Rhonda Love and the Dream Creator Studio. Shout out to the DLBA, the Arts Council, Brandy Davison, Gray LB, all y'all just working hard putting together a fantastic, what will be a fantastic arts and culture experience for the community. You know, I heard some stuff today that really was profound as experts or big time business people were trying to analyze the creative economy and everything. And it was really just interesting to hear the conversations from that level, but it still always comes down to the people. That's why arts and culture does begin with humanity. And we cannot forget our humanity, because if we forget our humanity, we will lose arts and culture. And that's just it. I just really feel that way. Yeah, AI and all this as a tool, but it will not replace the humanity that goes into the creation of arts and culture. October 14th, y'all, state music stages all over the place, galleries open. We're going to be open here at 255 East 4th Street, inside of the Long Beach Rising Murals of the Movement exhibit. All right, you've listened to me ramble on. I'm just thinking out loud, just thinking, empathizing, I guess is the word, with the sign of the times. What are we going to do next? Well, what I'm going to do today is continue to love one another. Love one another. Love one another. Peace and blessings.